Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Green Tea Bakery. This is your host, Christine, here to share another topic and talk about a topic that I've been thinking about a lot. And also, I realized that at night is the only time I can record podcasts these days because I have a baby living. No, I don't have a baby, but like I don't have a baby living upstairs. And it feels like I am part of the family because I hear when the baby's crying. I can hear when the baby's awake and running around and playing and dropping something on the floor. I hear it all. It feels like I'm truly part of the family. It really feels like it. Plus, I have constructions outside, but I'm so happy to be in Paris that I don't mind. And honestly, I can't be mad at the baby. It's the purest human being probably in the entire building. So I'm happy to just deal with it when the baby has to run around and do all those things. But the topic that I want to talk about today is shame. Because it's something that I just been thinking about a lot recently, and people who I talk to, this topic kept coming up in different ways, in different forms. So I just want to talk about it, and I have no notes for this episode. It was just I was honestly it was an impulsive decision this noon to film it, but then again, it was very loud, so now I'm doing it. So I hope all my thoughts will come together as beautifully as they would have done if I did this during the peak of inspiration. But, anyways, why do I want to talk about shame? What do I want to talk about connected to it? Um, I just realized that personally, I have lots of shame to things I did in the past. And that sounds dramatic, but it's not. I mean, like small things. So I could be uncomfortable when like when I the best example is like watching my wannabe YouTube videos when I was like 13, 14, 15, 16, and I was just like talking to the camera and doing stuff. Actually, now thinking back of it, if I would have uploaded it, I should have uploaded it. Honestly, whatever. I would have been a star by now. But still, it's like sometimes you look at your old self doing something and you just feel so cringy and kind of like uncomfortable looking at yourself doing stuff. Or if you think about a certain situation and the way you reacted, or like in general, if you think of a certain conversation with someone, or like the way you behaved in a situation, or just like something that makes you feel uncomfortable, there's usually so much shame around it. And it's like, oh my God, like how could I have done this? How is this okay? So, right, the shame could be with us in the past, in the present, in the future. So, the past, as I said, something you did before. And part of growth and part of development is accepting yourself fully. And it's a concept I truly learned the meaning and the practice of this year. And not just accepting yourself when you're, you know, like professionally successful and whatever and doing your thing and you get some external recognition for you, but truly accepting all of you, no matter what, no matter when. And shame is something that is in the way of it because if we value something, the way we behaved, the way we acted, and we feel ashamed or uncomfortable looking back at it, we cannot accept ourselves. We cannot grow from it fully. We cannot truly, truly develop if there is shame looking back at it. So, something that I've been trying to practice is just with compassion. Look at little me doing some mistake that makes me feel uncomfortable, something that I'm just like, oh my God, why did I do this? Or why did I act the way I did? And just with compassion, give myself a mental hug to the little me and just accept it and just move on and just don't have shame about something that I did in the past. Because I think also something that I was talking about in therapy is when there is a situation that might be traumatic or just in general uncomfortable, oftentimes we go back and we think we heal by forgiving other people. So it's like if something happened between you and person A, um, like you go back and you're like, oh, person A, like I forgive you, it's okay, I know you hurt me, I know this wasn't good, or like I know this was a weird situation, but whatever, I forgive you. But do you forgive yourself? And oftentimes there's so much shame around it that you can't forgive yourself, or you just don't, or you just, you wonder, why am I not over this, or like, why am I still coming back to a certain situation? Maybe because you didn't forgive yourself, maybe because you still have so much shame and discomfort around something. And going back and addressing it and truly, truly letting it go will serve you so, so much for your present and your future self. And I think also shame can come in so many different forms, like shame that, you're, I don't know, that you're the only one in this situation. You're the only one who, I don't know, doesn't know something about something in your area, in like your field of expertise, but you feel like you're missing something out. Maybe it's something with friendships, like people actually, yeah, like you have this something, you feel like if people will know about it, like they're not going to be friends with you, like you feel so ashamed of it. Or like relationships, like you're not happy with your relationship, but you're so scared to share it because it feels like, what if I'm the only one around who's going through it? But I mean, who gets it right from the first time? Like people do, but it's very rare. So there's so many different things where you feel like, oh, I'm the only one struggling with this, but you're not. And removing this shame, the removing this value in the present, and again forgiving and having a compassionate look at your past self who was also dealing with it will really, really help you. And another actually shame example that I had today is, in theory, Russian is my mother tongue. It was the first language I learned. I only spoke it up until kindergarten, where I learned German, and then my world kind of shifted. And then for, well, 3 years of kindergarten and 12 years of German school, I was only speaking German. So that was like suddenly my top language, the language I would think of most of the time in, the language I would write in preferably, the language I did get my high school diploma in. And then college happened, and suddenly, again, my entire world changed, and everything was in English. I started journaling in English. I started writing all my exams in English. I prefer to talk sometimes even in English. I feel like, because my current stage of development is mostly in English. Well, of course, I can translate things, and of course, orally, I can speak any of those. I can do Russian, I can do German, I can do English, and now that I'm becoming more comfortable in French, like I'm happy to talk. And that's another podcast episode. I think that was like one of my first episodes and one of the most popular ones, about languages and how you don't truly translate to different languages, or like different parts of you translate to different languages. But that's not the topic. The topic is that despite Russian being technically my first language, I am so ashamed that it takes me years, okay, not years, but like forever, to write. And like reading is good enough. Like I'll still prefer English or German if I have to read something, but I'm fine. But when it comes to writing, I communicate in Russian with some people in my family and some friends, but it's usually voice messages, or like I type it up and my phone autocorrects proposes me the word to write. And now I signed up for two classes by two Russian bloggers, like two separate classes, right? And I'm so behind. Again, I'm so ashamed that I'm so behind in those two classes. But the biggest reason why I'm so behind in those classes is because after each module, in order to move on to the next one, you have to do the homework. And the homework, you have to write a lot of deep reflection questions, or in general, a lot of questions to write in Russian, and it's so difficult. And I feel so ashamed that something that, is my first language, I am struggling to write. Like I can, but my keyboard is in English. So it's like I have the Russian keyboard on, but it takes me so long to write everything. And I started doing it on my phone, where I just like dictate it, and then it writes it up, and then I send it off. But still, even this would have been in German or English, I would have been able to type it up and write it up so quickly and just be so confident about it. And feel much better. But I don't know. And it's just something that I realized that it's okay. Like, it's okay. And I asked the course people if I can do some of the longer writing prompts in English, just because I would prefer to do that. And I also need to let go of the shame around it and see it as first, maybe a learning opportunity. Like, I'm learning to become better in my own language by taking those courses. I'm not only taking away like the material of it, but I'm also learning how to be more, like faster, better, stronger in Russian. And yeah, I mean, isn't it like a win-win? I get to do both, the content and the and the writing aspect of it. But yeah, but it still took me a moment to stop, remove away this shame, and just do it. And yeah, and I think also for the future, I wanna I really see how shame is truly in the way. And even like shame that, oh, this didn't work last time, like, oh, I don't want to do it. Like, oh, I applied for this job before, but like I got rejected and it was so uncomfortable. I feel so ashamed. Like, I, show my true self, my bare self out there, and then this, you didn't want it, and then I'm never going to do this. I'm never, whatever it may be. If something didn't work for you before, or you felt very ashamed or uncomfortable how something happened, you gotta grow. You gotta grow and keep going. Like, if you give up that easily, and if you just let shame and discomfort stop you from pursuing something, from trying something, from growing, like, no, don't let that be the reason you stop. And it's also truly a reminder for myself, because I think also like a super interesting phenomenon that I observed, especially in university, is you have classes with people, right? And you talk to them, and maybe you vibe, maybe you don't vibe that much, but whatever, you know the people to a certain extent. And then a semester passes, not even a semester, like a month passes, you're out of the class, you see them on the street, and so many people pretend they don't know you. And to be fair, I did that too sometimes as well. But it's like, why? Why are we doing this? And then of course there's some people who are always smiling and always like waving at you whenever you see them. And those people will, I don't know, they'll be much more in a happy, like, I'll have a happy, positive thought whenever I think of those people. But I try to think about it. It's like, why does it happen? Like, even me myself, like, I rationally understand, like, just say hi. Like, you don't have to actually, engage in a 20-minute conversation with every single person you see in the street. But it's like, why does it happen? And with some people, we still say hi on the street, and some people pretend to ignore you. And I pretend to ignore people sometimes. I really try to stop myself whenever I notice I'm doing it. But I just realized that in those moments we're uncomfortable and ourselves. Maybe, again, maybe it's just like you don't feel comfortable. Maybe you don't feel comfortable. You don't know if the person will remember you, so you're not gonna pretend like you remember them, because oh my god, it would be so, so uncomfortable, and we'll be so and ashamed if we wave at them and they look at us with a straight face, not knowing who we are. So to not have this shameful situation, we're just not going to say it. But by not saying it, maybe you're losing up on a connection that you actually already had, but you're losing up on it because you feel potentially ashamed of the potential consequence of this person not waving back at you. But so what? So what? Think about it, all the things we didn't do because we felt scared or ashamed or just not comfortable doing something. Again, it just limits our growth and limits the possibilities we have in life. So, and next time that you think about something and you feel ashamed, or a person that you feel for some reason ashamed about the interaction you had, whatever it may be, or a setting, a space where last time you felt not great about yourself or great about the outcome, it's okay. If it's like a company, your dream company, and you applied and you interviewed, or you didn't interview, whatever it is, and you didn't get it last minute, or you didn't get it at all, it's okay. Like, nobody cares. Nobody cares as much as you overthink it. And you're also not alone in this. You're not alone in this discomfort, and by breaking through that, by going this extra step and letting accepting shame, but giving yourself a hug, saying, I love myself and I accept myself and it's okay. And we move on and we grow and it's going to be fine. This is truly going to help you and you're truly be able to move on. And next time you see this person on the street that you know, just say hi. And I think it's something that once you leave an educational system and you don't see the same people on the street every single time, that's something you get so excited about. Like now, if I see someone I know on the street, I get so excited. Like, wow, amazing. Like I don't see the same people every single day unless I make an effort to see them every single day or whenever. So yeah, just like profiter of the opportunity of having people around you and truly just respectfully leave the shame behind. And yeah, and another thought that is kind of connected but not connected, but it's just a really good quote that I heard yesterday in a reel. But it was that the magic you're looking for is in the work you're avoiding. Let me say this again. The magic you're looking for is in the work you're avoiding. So oftentimes we're avoiding doing something because first we feel scared, second we feel ashamed, third it just seems like so much, whatever it may be, procrastination, whatever it may be. But the true gold and the true growth and magic and awesomeness is in the things that you know you have to do, or you know you feel drawn to, but you maybe be avoiding. So just again, respectfully remove the shame and all the negativity. Just accept it, accept yourself, and make the next move, whatever it may be. And I'm sure deep down, you know what's the next move for you. I'm a person who really likes to delegate my life decisions to a coffee cup reading or a tarot card reader or a Lila game with my subconsciousness, whatever it may be. I really like to delegate my life decisions to some arbitrary whatever things around. But the true magic comes from me putting in the work and removing all the discomfort that is around. Or better, acknowledging acknowledging the discomfort and still doing it and still growing. So yeah, that was everything I wanted to say. I also realized I need a proper intro for this podcast and a proper outro, like introducing like who am I, what do I do, blah blah. So hopefully this is the last episode you hear that is just straight up to the topic, and I'll have a proper intro and outro um, coming up next. But for now, this is everything I have for you. Feel free to contact me per usual on Instagram at Seth Christine and share your thoughts, share your opinion on this, and share anything you want to share. But thank you so much for being here. And I'm gonna do my um soda, what is it, carbon natrium inhalation for my throat to get healthy. I've been sick for 2.5 weeks and I'm finally, knock on wood, starting to get better. So I'm gonna do my health before bed routine. And yeah, I talk to you very soon. Bye.